Wild Investigators Research Division, shortened PWIRD. I'm a practicing white witch and shaman, and I have been investigating for over 20 years. This channel is made to talk about all things paranormal, supernatural, of the occult, demonic information, UFOs, and much more of the strange and the unknown. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell to see more of this channel. And we will see you very soon. Thank you.
Hello, how is everyone?
Hello guys, welcome to Paranormal World Investigators Research Division and Paranormal World Investigators. It is Saturday evening and we are back after a lovely Christmas and a very happy new year to you all. We are here again with series 2 for our amazing shows to be done with Samuel. So obviously, as you know guys, Samuel is our host. He's going to be giving us a number of amazing topics and stuff that he's going to be sharing with us. Tonight's show, he's going to be talking to myself and you guys about some very magical herb and plants and what's significant in magic work and things like that, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be writing in the room and putting links, and I'm going to put Samuel to full screen, and it's over to you, Samuel, and welcome back.
Thank you, Sherry. Good to hear from you, and good to see you. Well, I'll start off. I barely scratched the surface on this one about metaphysical plants, herbs. What else is there? And the way they work and this and that. It's kind of a different sort of thing. And if you do practice alchemy or somewhat of alchemy, many of these you're going to find rather interesting. Some of them are just right in the backyard that you never think about. Well, let's get started. People have a tendency to think that stones and crystals are that of the metaphysical only, but there's more than just those. Plants have a huge amount of properties that are various forms of magic. Plants can feed, help to make homes, help with various forms of pain, cure disease, and have other properties. In the way of plants, they have a huge amount of healing properties to treat wounds, and many plants have the potential of ending a life. The properties of plants and herbs are boundless with a huge amount of possibilities. A lot of people, as previously mentioned, think that stones and crystals as the way to be the go-to guy whenever it comes to magic. But the advantage of plants and herbs is that they do have similar properties, but most plants are renewable. Another advantage of plants is that when someone uses them to make a potion, they're much easier to break down as opposed to crystals and stones. With plants and herbs and potions, combining them in various ways can lead to endless possibilities with a potion. In saying all this, there will be various mentions of a few plants and herbs with metaphysical properties they contain. And please forgive me, some of these I will screw up the enunciation. Okay, this one is called Acacia. It's a psychic and spiritual booster. Helps with love, even if it means in a platonic or even a friendship sort of way. It can also help with boosting ritual boxes and handheld tools. Also used in incense to give a more calming effect. And a lot of people use those within anything they do. Aconite is also used for magical cleansing. Can be used for to combat supernatural beasts like creatures such as vampires and even those that are of lichen persuasion, werewolves, for example. An acorn can be used to keep a younger look to somebody, and can be used for good luck. The blessing of common sense and personal power. So more people like me should be using that, to be honest. Adder's tongue. It helps to stop the gossip and slander and accelerate healing. It can be used to light working spells such as healing and even protection. Some call it dog's tooth violet. African violet. Spirituality, healing, and protection used in certain equinox Sabbaths. So it helps you rest a little bit, and it smells not so bad. Agar has been used to help with blessings within the home. It does dramatically good work when it comes to luck. Gives a certain edge to somebody when it comes to games of chance, such as poker or even bingo or other sorts of games. Agrimony, which helps in overcoming fear, has been known to dispelling certain negative emotions. When washing your clothes, add this to help improve the healing properties and energies, and can be used against evil entities. Alfalfa helps with money, prosperity, and even hunger. Putting this into a cauldron and burning it can also help with the level of protection from hunger and poverty. Then we got one that's huge in Florida. It's called aloe. Aloe helps the protection and produces large amounts of luck. It also helps relieve loneliness and assist with others, and can also be used in a medical sort of way, such as burns and I guess you could say even lotions. Amber, which helps out influences and protects against harm and slows down psychic attacks. So whenever that sort of stuff happens, break out the amber if you can. But it also comes in plant. It can come as a sap or even a rock to some degree. Allspice, which is money and luck and healthy and healing, can be promoted with this. It can help It can help with healing when it does put into a bath, and it's also known as Jamaica pepper. Apricot, which is known to be very delicious, adds certain effects when it comes to the issue of love. Adding apricot helps with the pursuit of love. Okay. America flowers. This helps with the promotion of psychic powers. So, say, like in a general sense, if you are starting to become aware, metaphysical wise, occult wise, whatever you want to call it, or even intuitive wise, it does help and helps greatly. Then we got asparagus, what helps with men in the art of sex magic. With all that, it does wonders from what I've heard. I've never tried it, but it does work for many different people. Astralugus, I cannot pronounce that, can be a classic promotion with energy and protection. Then you got azalea, is considered to be extremely poisonous and can potentially bring happiness, lightheartedness, and uplifting someone into a good mood, but you never want to consume it. You got bachelor buttons. Can promote love with people. Bachelor buttons have various different names, and these are just a few. Red Champion and the Devil's Flower. And what is known also about the Devil's Flower, or as bachelor buttons, um, I never recommend this, but it can send. It's sort of like the 1960s version of uh, acid, which can cause massive hallucinations, which a lot of people seem to enjoy. Balmony, which helps with patience and steadfastness. And the plant can also be associated with turtle shells. Um, when using this, it does help with various different things. Not the best smell, not the worst smell, but it does help arouse certain senses. Bamboo, which many of us love, has been associated with breaking hexes. It can help with luck, and bamboo can help with granting wishes. Not only that, it's very much something that's a very sturdy wood, and it grows extremely fast, making it a hugely more renewable source for carpentry and other things like and lumber and other things like that. Banberry has been used with cleansing. Sorcery is something that Banberry can help with, and Banberry can be used to break a hold and control of someone who has on you. So if somebody, in certain ways, it can break a curse to an extent. It can, like if somebody's been binded, has a binding spell put on them, Banberry can help with that. It can help with that and breaking certain things, and also with the hexes and all the other stuff. Uh, Bats Bat's Head Root. It has the ability to help with spell work, has the ability to aid in rituals, and it's been seldom the potential of obtaining wishes. So with Bat's Head Root, if you're doing that sort of thing, it does help. It's not going to be the go-to guy that you might need. It's more like the backup for the go-to guy. We also have basil, which many people use. Basil has the ability to help with psychic abilities and psychic powers. So basically, having that like in a medicine bag or even in your pocket can help you out in various different ways. It can also be used in the way of healing and strength, and basil has been known to drive away hostile spirits. Now, with basil, like I said beforehand, basil has a way of being part of food. In many sort of Italian dishes, gives a sweet taste. And like I said before, with plants as opposed to crystals and stones, they are renewable. And given enough time in the right conditions, you can have enough to last you for quite a while. Then you got bayberry. Bayberry has Bayberry has been to affect the physical side of things with strength, love, and healing, luck, and healing. So with Bayberry, with it, um, I guess you could say in a different way, it could be good to have around just in your pocket or something like that, which can affect your health in various different ways and do quite the number on you in a positive sort of way. Then we have bed straw, which improves lust and also uh, adds on to love. So, in a certain way, with bayberry, if there's somebody you love or something like that, not necessarily putting on a love spell for them, but like I said, with all that, it does wonders for, I guess you can say, physical intimacy or sensual touch or things like that. Then we have then we have beets, has been used in the art of making written spells and has been used to replace blood as a spell component. So with all that, if you're doing spell work like alchemy or other types of spell work, it can potentially save you from an infection if you have to pierce the skin to withdraw blood from somebody. It also can be used for food, and in some ways, when you break it out if you break it down enough, it can be formed into some kind of a sugar, like sometimes they do it in Florida. Benzoin has been known to help with purification as prosperity, relieving of stress and anxiety. Benzoin also helps with battling depression, and there's other names, various other names. One of them is called snowbells. The other one is called storax, gun, gum bazone, siam bazone, and benzoin gum. So with all that, it's got a lot of properties and a whole lot of names, but for many people in the metaphysical community, it really does add a little bit of push, making things a lot better for you. Then you got the beetle nut. I think that's how you pronounce it. Beetle nut has the ability to give protection and also has been known to banish. I know one guy, whenever he did certain spells and everything, he would never go the route of darkness. He just didn't have it in him, which is a good thing. But you have to remember it did help him out here and there. And so with him, he had sort of a way about him that I guess you can say luck wise, he didn't have so much trouble in the way of extreme drama, which most people hate. Then you got bilberry bark, which is classically used for protection. It goes back a very long ways, but it does work with many different people. And and also some people like to eat it. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm not saying it isn't. But it does wonders for a lot of people, especially if you're hungry. Um, and like I said, classically used for protection. And other names of it are called whortleberry, black whortles, huckleberry, and even blueberry. And so, with bilberry bark, I guess you can say it could be the go-to guy. And if you're desperate and need food, there you go. Then you have black pepper, which most of us completely know. It has the power, and it has been known to have the power from banishment qualities. It has the way of banishing negativity, helps with exorcisms, and along with the protection against evil. Many people also use it, which is obvious, for seasoning and also in certain forms of medication. And also, it's been known to treat wounds in the way of preventing infection. So when people have that on them, I guess you can say when people have black pepper on them, they have a very useful tool that helps in various different ways. And like I said, it also helps with seasoning if you like things a tiny bit spicy. Okay, then you have bladderwrack, uh, which has been known to have protection from wind spells and sea spells. In Florida, we have something called hurricanes. Every so often they do happen, and hopefully you never get the wrong end of the hurricane in that sort of way. But oftentimes with the bladder uh, with the bladder it it can prevent you from potentially getting hurt, or if you do get hurt, there's the potential that it can lessen those bad omens from happening to you. So say like whenever you know about hurricanes, not only do you have water, you also have sea spells and wind spells. And it also can help with intuitive or psychic powers and can be known to attract customers of various different types of businesses. Um, like if you go to a business and everything, some people can smell it, some people can't. But whenever you go in there and it has that effect, people often, not always, have a tendency to buy more where that's more available for various different people. Then we got cabbage, which many of us know. It helps with fertility, profit, luck, and also has been known to help with money luck. It also, what we all know, it helps with various forms of cooking from Asia to North America, Europe, and even some amount of Africa and even Asia. Well, I've already named that. But like I said, with cabbage, it also is a renewable resource in the way that it works well for food. And definitely works well for food. Calamine helps with the pain of emotional, helps with the issue of emotional pain, helps with depression, and gives a brighter outlook in life. Other names that go for this are called mountain mint, basil, thyme, and mountain balm. Uh, but like I said, it does help quite a bit and everything. But everything that I've said here so far, I would not recommend eating unless you know more about it. You know more about the plants that go along with it. Cactus, which also helps with chastity, and it also helps with banishment and protection. Many different kinds of cacti are out there. Some of them, like a barrel cactus, if you know how to cut it open, it has a significant amount of water in it, which is very long lasting and very, very, very seldomly rare. The water inside the barrel cactus can hurt you. It's very rare if you have an allergy but if you have an allergy, don't do it. But if you're desperate and you're out in the desert, a barrel cactus cacti will help you out. But in many ways added on to it, there are other cacti that you do not want to mess with. And the obvious is being pricked by some very painful needles. Calamus has the ability to help with luck, money, healing, and protection, which most of us out there we already have that need to help us out. So with those four parts, or even growing it yourself, it does help with wonders with that. Then we got caper, which is potency, lust, and love, which a lot of us do need added on to it. And so at the end of the day, having that here and having it there, it does a good job for many different people and has sort of an uplifting effect depending on how you have it with you. Then you have cashew, which has been known to bring a lot of luck in the way of money. It also, you can eat it. You can also eat it. You can cook with it. And some nuts, and I don't recommend this to anyone, but having the shells of the nuts can help you or prevent you from getting robbed if you place them on around windows or this or that. So that way, in case somebody does break in and they step on those and they don't have good shoes, they're going to step right back out and go seek medical attention. Then you got carrots, which a lot of us know. It helps with lust and also helps with fertility. It also helps us with night vision. It also helps us with night vision. Also helps us with cooking. And whenever something like that is broken down, say like in the stage of rot, you can add that rot to another plant and it does help revitalize that other plant that might need those kinds of nutrients after it's been rotting. Catnip, which cat lovers obviously know about, is essential to working with feline spirits over the top, especially if you are somebody who worships the gods of ancient Egypt and the old gods of various different faiths. It does help with the worship of that and also brings about some amount of luck and other things like that. It also provides protection from during sleep. So if you're having night terrors, catnip potentially can be your best friend in various different ways, which I know I would keep saying that. Other names are called cat's play, catmint, nip, nepta, and cat's wort. And so if you do want to have a good time also with a living cat, get some catnip and get a laser pointer, and you'll have a great time watching the cat. Then you got Cat's Claw, which is money drawing, vision quests, and shamanic journeys. So, like I said, it has Cat's Claw has various different purposes, especially if you do do things from the gods of the old ways, and it does help quite a bit in that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, it can expand your mind and other things like that. Then you got Cat's Tail, which also helps with lust. I mean, if you see them every so often, you do see them a lot in Florida, depending on where you go to. Sometimes even in a swamp or a wet plain or things like that. Then you got Cayenne, which helps with pain of breakups and divorce. And then you have cleansing or protection and repels negativity. Cayenne pepper or cayenne, whatever you want to call it. Cayenne can also be used to season food, and also back in ages ago, even in theory of the crusades that Europe had done for the Middle East, they had received cayenne pepper, depending on your geography, and people would bring back cayenne pepper back to Europe. With cayenne pepper, and I'll say this much with cayenne pepper, if someone was to kill a deer for food, of course, or protection, once you have the meat and everything, in Europe, that stag or deer that you might have found, and you've done something, and you've eaten part of it, putting cayenne has been known to have, what was the term? It also helps with, well, like I said, taste, and also helps prevent disease of that butchered animal. So whenever you put it on there, it would make, back in those days, it can make some sort of deer meat. It can make it last from a couple days to maybe a week and a half at most. Then we have cedar, which I love the smell of that. It can bring up feelings of confidence, strength, power, money, protection, and also has a way of healing. In the U.S., which a lot of people do know about, when it comes to cedar, people use it to cook with, or to taking a cedar plank and cooking meat on top of it. It gives, like fish or other animals, it gives it a better, depending on your palate, it can also help with the taste of it, and not just the fish, but of even rabbit or things like that. So, and also, let's be obvious here, it can also help with wood projects from homes or stuff that goes along with the interior of a home. You have cedar berries, which repels snakes, which I'm not a big fan of, and I should probably be getting more of those. Potentially prevents against theft, and also has been known to be called juniper berries. So I don't recommend eating cedar berries at all, but if you have a fear of snakes, and like I said, I live in Florida, and you put them around your place, like outside your door a little bit and everything, the smell can be at best nauseating for snakes, and they will go a different direction as opposed to coming into your home. Then you got Centauri, which oftentimes is used to do counter spells. With counter spells, in certain ways, it's sort of like a mirror spell. If somebody attacks you with a psychic attack, that the Centauri will, not always, but can also reflect some of those bad magics at the other person. Will those hexes or bad magic that's going on the offense of you, it can filter out. You're going to get some of those effects. But the thing is that it can act like a slingshot and throw it right back at the person. It can be also known, well, I already said that, removing snakes. It's also called bitter herb, lyscanterary, and feverwort. People in the past, I don't know who, but I've heard this, it's word of mouth, have been known to, I'm not going to put this, it basically can be used to slow things down in the way of a magical attack or a psychic attack. So, like I said, it does have different names, and it does do a certain amount of good for people. It doesn't have a certain amount of good for people who are going through certain things, and also, like I said, it can be very powerful in the way of defensive magic. Then we got celery, which it helps with mental prowess, male potency, and lust. And also, let's not forget, of course, food. Food is very important. Plants are very important. It also helps with intestinal sort of health, and also can taste good depending on how you cook it. It's been known to use continental sort of meals. It's also been used in Asian style cooking, European style cooking, and other things like that. What else is there? And also if you dehydrate it enough, you can have celery last a very long time if you use a dehydrator. So in a certain way, celery can be one of your best friends. Then you have a daisy. This can help people on issues of the new life. It affects luck, love, and innocence. Certain forms of witchcraft use daisies as sort of some symbolism attributed to babies. In other words, purity. It can help with purity. And it's also been known to help with food. It's been very known to help with food and do the job of several different things in the way of adding a certain amount of tastes if you like that sort of thing. It's also been called barren root, eyes, field daisy, mandarin wort, and mountain daisy. I mean, not mountain daisy, but moon daisy. But like I said, with the daisy, it can be considered a renewable energy source. So at the end of the day, not energy, but food source. Um, and depending on the person, it can also drive away. It can also drive away certain other things that go along with bad plants and even insects. Yeah, so a lot of insects don't like that. And so if the insects don't like it, that can be your good friend. Then you got deer's tongue, which is used to attract men and also used to promote psychic powers. But like I said earlier, some of these things that are of psychic powers or of intuitive nature, the deer's tongue can help bring you up to I guess you could say, a bigger sort of way of consciousness. And it does help quite a bit. And so at the end of the day, with those psychic powers, like I said, with those psychic powers becoming more aware, it can help with training also on that issue. Intuitive nature, gut instinct, feminine intuition, other things like that. And it does wonders for people in that sort of way. Now we got Devil's Bit, which helps with exorcism, love, protection, and lust. Um, with the devil's, you can also do with the Devil's Bit, which also helps quite a bit with positive and white magic working or light working. So with Devil's Bit, it does the job for a lot of people and keeps them going and going well. And like I said, having something like that, it does the job for a lot of people, especially alchemists, light workers, or even some amount of people that use darker sort of magic. Um, because, like I said, it does the job for various different things. Then you have Devil's Bone Root, which is a sexual attractiveness and warding off an negative energy. So, whenever it comes to that sort of thing, if a man isn't as potent, not always, but it can help stimulate that man into a higher grade of arousal. Um, then you got Devil's Claw, which adds protection and dispelling unwanted company. So, jokingly, if you have a guest over at your place and they've overstepped their welcome, well, the Devil's Claw can not isn't 100%, but it can help boost your stats in the way of making sure that unwanted guest is not there. Then you've also got spiritual guests that you do not want, so like attachments, spirits, entities, whatever you want to call it, that have a certain negative, which might have a certain negative amount of influence that you don't want. Not always, but Devil's Claw can sometimes turn them away. And you don't have to always go to certain links whenever it comes to a ritual to help that sort of thing. Then we have Dill. Dill is a money, protection, luck, and lust. Dill has been known to be taste of very good, help with the taste of food. It can also be used with the taste of food whenever it comes to seafood or even pickling. So like pickling cucumbers. Some people have used it in sushi. Some people have used it in a variety of ways that does help a lot of other people. Dill can also keep dark forces away, which a lot of people don't want in their place. Not that I blame them, but sometimes you got to think of the balance and everything. But if things are in the way of darkness, that could be one of your best friends. It's also used in house cleaning. And dill, many people love the smell of dill. And it can give sort of a natural sort of effect and work with people. It can also work with people on that sort of issue. The seeds can be also made to the seeds of dill can also be used in money making sort of spells. And people say that money is, as some people say that money is the root of all evil, but good luck having a fun, energetic, good life without money. And that's the reality that we live in this world, where money, whether we want to admit it or not, is kind of important. And at least in the US, you need money to have buy medication, food, have a place to live, depending on your economic status, like rent and various other things. And so that's how it goes with dill. Then you got one of my personal favorites, which I absolutely love, is devil's, not devil's, but dragon's blood. It has protection type of properties, energy, purification. It has extremely strong banishing powers to it, and can be used against negativity and also against bad influences. So basically, if you have, let's say you have dragon's blood resin and you burn it, not always, but it's going to influence certain entities to leave the place. And oftentimes, at least in theory, it also nauseates certain bad entities that you don't want and everything. So when it comes to smell, oftentimes with human beings or other people, dragon's blood does help quite a bit whenever it comes to the smells and this and that. It had also, in many ways, it has a way of inviting people just on the smell of it alone. Another thing about dragon's blood, if you another thing about dragon's blood, if you do writing sort of magic, you use a spell book, you write your spell book, or you want to make a note and everything, Dragon's Blood can dramatically help the spells that you've written in, say, like a Book of Shadows or your own spell book in that sort of way. And sprinkling in the home can also drive away negativity. We all have negativity in certain ways that is not good for us. It can be toxic for us in different sorts of avenues. Um, negativity, I guess you can say, is if it's not checked and balanced, you want to realign the balance. So if you, well, like I said, one of my go-to guys is Dragon's Blood incense. Putting that away can slow negative responses down. It slows things down to a crawl. Now, you can definitely, with Dragon's Blood, it can also, well, like I said, it can be inviting towards those that are of the living. And it can be inviting towards that of the living and work with people and invite them in. Also, with Dragon's Blood, it gets people to sometimes calm down if they had a tough or rough day on that sort of issue. And the smell is amazing. And some people, they feel right at home whenever they smell Dragon's Blood. And dulse, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It can bring harmony to the home. It promotes lust. It also helps with sea rituals and has the potential of lowering sea winds. Many people, I don't know about North America, but I do know about Europe. People have used it off and on for a very long time in the way of, like in harbor type towns, which does help. How can I put this? It does help with certain kinds of storms. And I do know in the very, very eastern parts of the harbor sort of towns in the U.S., some people consider it vital to have dulse because of the damage that water spirits and wind spirits can have. And so with all that, people have it and it does the job for them. Not always, but on the other hand, it can lower the damage that the sea and the wind have. Now we have earth smoke, which is associated with the underworld. It's excellent for Samhain, or some people call it Samhain, and some people call it Halloween. But with Samhain, it helps with being in tune to the dead, and some people argue that it also helps. It also helps with various different things that includes with the dead. Some people that are necromancers use it. Not that I advise that by any means, but people that do necromancy will have that in their home or in their place of residence or things like that to combat not necessarily combat, but help the dead find their way home or to the heavens or to Hades or whatever. It does help them and does help them quite a bit. And so at the end of the day, whenever it comes to earth smoke, some people will swear up and down by it and will keep it in massive amounts of quantities. It can also be used to consecrating rituals. So whenever earth smoke is used to consecrate rituals and concentrate their tools also for rituals, it does the job in making things a little bit easier. People that, well, like I said, to some people, they use it to show honor towards the dead. And also it's called fernitory. I think that's the name on how you spell it. But there are various different names for various different plants. But at the end of the day, a plant is still a plant and an herb is still an herb. Yes, there are different sorts, like I said, there are different sorts of plants that have different names, but it just happens to be that way. Then we got Endive, which is also helpful for love spells and can also help with sex magic. Some people that are of the community that many of us are in, many of the, I mean, Endive, my apologies. Whenever it comes to Endive, some people do practice sexual magic. And if you can promote that sort of thing with sex, whenever you're having that that kind of intimacy, uh, it can keep you going. And some people can get the idea and the effect that of the good it does in that sort of area. Now, this one isn't an herb or a plant, but it does help. It's called Epsom salts. Helps the ingredient with ritual baths. So if you're having a tough day, still it's cold and it's wet and everything, and you've been working out in it, Epsom salts can be a great friend to you. You sprinkle it into a bathtub with Epsom salts. Not always, but it does help with the muscle circulation, soreness, fatigue. It can get you to relax while you're in that bath a lot more, and it does the job. It makes things a little bit easier for anyone and everyone. So, so like you come home and you have one of those baths, and you have family time. It can make that family time a little easier because you're feeling a little bit better. Now we have Eyebright, which promotes psychic abilities. I don't really know too much about it. All I know is what I researched on. But some people say that it gives a little bit of an edge in making things a little sharper and more clear whenever it comes to psychic abilities. It also has been known to improve memory, which a lot of us, like myself included, it does improve memory, and it also encourages rational thought. Basically, whenever it comes to that sort of thing with rational thought, having your brain all over the place can be time consuming. It can drive people to some points of insanity. But the thing is that with it, if it can calm you down, calm your brain down, and get you to relax, it promotes rational thoughts and feelings on that sort of issue. So, in many ways, I guess we could all say that. I guess we can all say that when it comes to encouraging rational thought, that could be a really good go-to guy for you. There are other names called Eyebright, Euphorsia, and then you got Case Lunette, and those are three names that can be associated with it. Then we have False Unicorn Root, which is protection for mother and baby. I do know one person who has used that. She had two kids, which weren't in the best of health, but she sprinkled it in different parts of the room, in the corners of the children's rooms. And it kind of lessened, I guess you could say, lessened the severity of their little sicknesses and slowed things down, making things a little bit better. It's also called False Unicorn, Starwort, and Hellenae's Root. Then we have Figret, which is magical it helps with magical type balms. So say like if you got injured or something like that, and it's a small scratch and everything, it could promote the healing that you might have or you might need. It also helps, so like if you got chapped lips, a small amount that's made into a balm, it does help with chapped lips. It also helps with blessings of the home and business blessings. So it does help with your money and your cash flow. And also with Figwort, it does protection for the home. In saying all of that, more of us in this world should consider using Figwort a lot more, if you can find it. Now, Fleasbane, which I have no problem saying I use, it uses exorcism, protection, and also chastity. With Fleasbane, keep this in mind. It's if you've ever heard of Wolfsbane, many type of darker sort of entities that know about wolfsbane. Those people who are, no, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but people that are of a darker nature do not like wolfsbane. But Fleasbane is like the tough little cousin of wolfsbane. It's not as tough as wolfsbane, but whenever it comes to Fleasbane can do a whole lot of good for many different people. And like with me, I use it in potions to, I guess you could say, banish darker sorts of forces. It's also like it's an exorcism's protection and chastity. One second. Like I said, those three things, whenever it comes to Fleasbane, it does a job. Now in the past I've gotten Fleasbane. I became really happy with Fleasbane because it had certain effects. Whenever it came to magical type potions. So with Fleasbane, you have to break it down. You have to break it down and use a mortar and pestle, but there are ways of getting around that. I have a grinder for like espresso beans. Now with espresso beans, people know they're very hard and this and that. But with a grinder, it breaks it down and oftentimes breaks it down to a powder, which is a huge blessing, especially if you're strapped on time to have a potion made and everything. So Fleasbane whenever it is broken down into a powder and you add it to a mortar and pestle, it does the job and does the job very well for many different types of people. So even certain forms of the craft that some people practice, it helps them. People have been known to take Fleasbane in a powdered form and sprinkle it in certain corners of their place, and it not always, but it can drive out spirits that have ill intent. And I will say this much, just because something has a negative sort of feel doesn't make it completely a bad entity or a bad person. But with Fleasbane, it can help in the way of, how can I put this? It can help in the ways of keeping a certain balance in your home. And like I said, it promotes chastity and protection. So whatever your beliefs are, on the issue of Wolfsbane, Fleasbane is a good alternative that you can have. And it does a job, and it does a job nicely. Now we have Foxglove, which is the protection of the garden and home. Many people throughout the world depend on gardens. They need fields to make food and this and that. And Foxglove can destroy certain pests that you don't want, or get those pests very sick to where they don't want to be in the same vicinity of Foxglove. It also has been known to help with vision. I don't know if that's true or not. And some people can sit there and say immortality, but it can be used to help in certain ways with the underworld. So in theory, and this is just my theory, it can help with reincarnation in the way of coming back in some sort of way as bigger and better than what they were. So, but it also helps in theory. Anybody's open to debate on this. It can help with those who have passed on to find their way. It can help people find their way of getting home or this or that, or reaching the underworld safely. Now we got frangipani, which helps admiration and attracts love. In a general sense, I guess you could say with Frang's, I cannot pronounce it. I guess you can say it helps with respect, depending on the person. With somebody who is susceptible to magical properties and this and that, one thing we all want is respect, and respect from those people who we love. We want respect from our coworkers, even people on the street. Um, and also, not always, but people have a tendency to acknowledge you with all that if it's on your person. And also, it also helps with the respect of love, and that's important to so many of us. Garlic, which some of you probably were wondering whenever I would get to this, it helps with healing, protection, exorcisms. It can purify spaces and also purifies objects. We all know about garlic in some sort of way, depending on our geography. But garlic does help with taste. It can be used as a food. It also has antioxidant properties. And with the antioxidant properties, there are some things we do not want in our bodies because but with garlic, not always, but it can push certain things out of the intestines and also heal people to a certain degree. So this I don't advise, but some people have taken and minced garlic and put it on wounds to prevent infection and to prevent infection from what, like a small scratch or a wound or this or that. And also, like I said, it can be used to purify certain spaces. So, say like you've got a storage closet. So, say like you got a storage closet, and there's an entity in there. That entity has the potential of being less of a pain in the butt to somebody. And also, it helps purify objects. Um, helps purify objects. Like if you, some people do this. I do know two people who do this. They take minced garlic, not necessarily minced, but broken down garlic, and they will rub it on their tarot cards. Not like scrubbing it in. They'll just take a little bit and rub them on the sides of the deck of their tarot. And so it can help with that sort of thing and help the objects get back to what they can and can't do in that sort of way. And that's how it goes. Then you got Genesian, which adds to and also can add to the infusion of the bath. Baths are very cleansing. Baths can be very cleansing. They can also help the body, help the skin, getting cleaner, helping you get cleaner. And also, if you have a certain amount of flora and fauna, garlic, not garlic, but it can help kill certain toxins, even if it's on your skin, even if you don't know about. In a general sense, I guess you can say it's good in the way of prevention. Prevention in the way of getting sick or having something on your skin. Now, if you get scratched or something like that, but you've already used Genesian in your bath, I'm not saying this is 100%, but it can get rid of that before a potential infection can happen. It also helps with certain power. People that are of the metaphysical community, people that are of the metaphysical community, or the intuitive community, psychic community, and everything. They have a certain amount of life energy called chi, or depending on what you have. And then there's other forms of energy, like in chakras and this and that. That can help promote, like I said, that can help promote the power and the magic energy that you might have within oneself. So, in a general sense, and it also helps with strength, physical strength. So, in a general way, it helps depending on your point of view, it does help quite a bit with the bath in healing, protection, strength, prevention of disease, and this and that. And it does a lot of good for a lot of people. Then you've got ginger. Ginger helps promote sensuality, sexuality, prosperity, and even success in life. With all that, with all that, it does help quite a bit with anything and everything that we all have. And we all want those four things. Success, especially. Many of us are not exactly successful in life and everything, but those little victories that we want to have, ginger can help promote that. It also, which we all know, can be used in various different kinds of dishes, foods across, and is used across the world. Um, and Asian cooking, they do very well with it, especially Chinese cooking, and I've seen it even used in Japanese cuisine. Sometimes, at least in the U.S., there's something called Mongolian barbecue, which is kind of an ancient way of cooking, but it's amazing whenever you have it. There's oftentimes, not always, but there's oftentimes where the person that is cooking that delicious food, somebody that's cooking that delicious food will add ginger to it, and it gives a nice complex taste to that sort of thing. And also, like I said, for quite a few of these, it also, how can I put this? Like I said, it promotes flavor and also antioxidant effects. So, say like you don't know you have a virus. Let's say you don't know you have it, but you've been consuming a lot of ginger. Chances are that ginger could potentially kill that bad influence that could happen on your body. It's also called African ginger, which does well for people. But in conclusion, with all this, plants and herbs and various different kinds of those things hold a lot of magical properties. It is not just the magical properties they hold, but they also have practical properties. Fleasbane can get rid of certain kinds of pests in your home and around your home on the outside too. And in theory, those pests hold very dangerous magical effects. And if you've ever had a pest problem such as insects, that could be one of your best friends and a close ally in getting rid of them. Um, and, and then you got dragon's blood, which has certain effects to banish negative entities, but also can be used to clear a room out of bad smells for a while. And catnip, which is one of the most fun ones that you can have if you're a feline lover. It is one of the best ways of dealing with feline deities added onto it, and a way of giving humans a lot of entertainment with their cats. Whenever their cats are high from catnip, you're going to have some fun. But with all these plants in nature are just as good as stones. Added onto it, these plants are renewable more than most stones. Plants are perfect for magical purposes and also practical purposes. So that's how it goes. So, uh, Sherry, Sherry, are you ready for me on what people might be thinking or wanting to say? I can't hear.
Yeah, first, obviously, first, what I want to cover, because obviously we've got people writing in the room saying about your talk and stuff like that. I do just want to put out there, okay, that when it comes to plants and to herbs and things like this and working with magic and stuff like that, there are many different manifestations to how you use herbs and plants. There are going to be people that will be more knowledgeable about certain things than others because they use it in work and stuff like that. Now, obviously, with this channel, when you're coming in here, you respect everybody's decisions and everybody's way of talking, okay? Just because you might not have heard of some of the ways that Samuel is explaining things, it doesn't mean that Samuel is wrong, okay? Because believe it or not, plants and herbs have many aspects to life and many things that they can do, a lot more than what Samuel is telling you here, okay? Now, to try to make you guys understand a little bit more, in one of my witch shows, me and Sister Drew, we can do one where we can talk more in detail about herbs and other spiritual ways that they can be. Okay, for me, this channel is an educational channel. Okay, and everybody's got their own desires, their own beliefs, and their own ways. Okay, and it doesn't make anybody wrong. So if you want to be part of this room and you want to be in this room, respect the people that I confide in and I believe in. Okay, there may be things that people don't agree in or they don't agree with, but they'll still be civil and be nice. Okay. Now, you're all family and I love you all, and you're all welcome to have your freedom of speech, but there's having a freedom of speech and there's being respectful. Okay. I will not tolerate people talking in a negative way. Okay. So, some of you might not understand what Samuel was saying in some of what he's talking about, some of the herbs and some of the stuff, but that is something that he is aware of and he knows because he uses it in his type of magic. Okay. Everybody uses things in a different way. If I didn't believe in Samuel's work, if I did not believe in Samuel's way, he would not have a show. So please respect my worker. Hello, Chris.
Thank
Hello,
you, Sherry.
Lindsay. I will stick up for my guys because I know that I've put all my trust and my belief in them. So,
Well, on a different note, some people can sense energy even through the internet and everything, and some people can't. I brought two things. One's a list, and I brought a potion of what I use for many of that's a combination of many of the things I use. If you can sense energy, I would like some people to tell me what you think of this. I call it a 3-shot, and I'll show it to you. If you can sense that and what's in there, that right there is called a shadow potion, which the majority of it I use for with plants to some degree. Now the thing is, whenever it comes to it's not necessarily anti-good, it's not necessarily anti-bad, but it's anti-ill intent. So the thing is, if there's an entity that has a problem with something or somebody and everything, you don't necessarily know what to do. Some people can sense it and everything, but many people do not know how to potentially banish me if it comes that issue. So whenever it comes to prevention or even self-defense, the potion I just showed you can dramatically help you. So say like you got a negative spirit that's in your home and you can sense it loud and clear, you need to give a warning. And if there's no warning, and if they don't take heed to the warning, you have to think of, say, like a spell, a ritual, a chant, or something like that, and then you launch it at them. You don't launch the whole thing; you launch them out. And the reason why I call it 3-shot is because in the right dosaging that you can do, it can knock out 3 entities and to some extent banish them. And it will get rid of them. It will get rid of them. And that's how it goes. Another thing also that I brought, let me see if I can find the page on time. I brought a list of.
Thank you, Chris.
I brought a list of some of the stuff that I use on a regular basis. If anybody's interested, I'll try and recite this. One is called Mugwort, which most of us know to some degree. Lavender, especially French lavender. I love that stuff. Then you got black salt, white willow, fleasbane, bladderwrack, sage, palo santo, castor oil, hyssop, feverfew. You also have flake boro, especially my personal favorite, dragon's blood, and holy water, which I get, and also some amount of amber, which does help quite a bit if you break it down enough. And the reason why I'm saying that is basically I'm trying to give an idea on an educational sort of way on what can work for people and what can't. It can, in many ways, that list is what I use, and that's it. It works for me. It works for me and works well for me. And so, like I said, over the years, I've tried to refine what I do and refine what I say and what I do. And on the issue of the list that I just said, it does help quite a bit to know what you're working with and what you're not working with. So at the end of the day, the list that I showed you is individual for me. If you want to try it yourself, if you want to try one of those things yourself to make a potion in that sort of way, I say go for it. Go for it. Now I do have my own little things that I do that go along with it, but that's what works for me, and the overwhelming majority of it is plants.
Does different know about turmeric and cancer?
Well, turmeric does have a way of destroying certain cancers depending on the person, but it can destroy it, and depending and added on to it, depending on the person, it can prevent it from happening. It, like I said, it's all individual on the issue of turmeric. Um, but if you are having those sorts of health problems and medical science is not working in that sort of way, I say go for a metaphysical approach in that sort of way, because with the metaphysical part of it, science can't always solve the problem. Sometimes you need a different path, and you need a different path on how to do things. And like I said, if all else fails, try something new.
Yeah, another thing that they use quite a lot to do with cancer patients is things like lemon and stuff like that. I
Yes.
had a friend that would drink lemon on a regular basis. She's not here no longer, bless her soul, but it did help her with her cardiac issues due to her
Mhm.
cancer and stuff like that. There are many herbs and many things out there that can help you in many diseases and germs and all sorts of things. Like, that's what I'm saying. There is not just one thing that a plant or a herb can be to. And to anyone, lavender is not a herb. Lavender is a flower. It's a plant. Okay, so a bit different to a herb. Are there certain measurements to use with these? The thing is when you go into working with herbs and stuff, it's all about your intentions and stuff. With certain spells and certain rituals, you need a certain amount of pinches or a certain amount of something, and with other ones, it's whatever you feel is right to be put in there. It very much varies on what you feel in the spell and the magic at the time. Okay. I guess they say that the lesser you use, the more is not as powerful. But I don't believe in that at all. I believe that you can get from a very small amount, you can get a very big outcome and stuff. Some rituals and some things that you have to do have to be measured. Yes, some of it no. It depends on what sort of rituals and work that you're doing and performing.
Definitely so, Sherry. I mean, you want to have measurements, but at the same time, the way I do things, it's individual. What works for one person may not work for the next five, and it goes so on and so forth, back and forth.
Hatchy. Right. Let me just explain something, Hatchy. Okay, right. We've all got our own beliefs. We've all got our own way that we follow things. Okay. We've all got our own way that we do stuff. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying that anybody is in the wrong. I am saying that nobody's got the right to sit here and say that Samuel's wrong. And nobody's got the right to sit there and say that you're wrong, Hatchy. We all learn and are taught in different ways. We all see the world and do things in a different way. That does not make you wrong. What you might think you've got knowledge in, you may not have knowledge in. You might have the knowledge that you know, but there is other knowledge out there. Okay, so nobody knows everything. Okay, and there is always things that you're learning. This is what I'm saying. There is no right or wrong in here. And I think for Samuel to take the time out to even be able to sit up here and talk to you guys and give you something to sit there and do at night should be respectful enough. Okay, now, like I've said to you, if I didn't think that Samuel knew what he was talking about or what he was doing, he wouldn't be here. Okay, so just respect that. Okay, I've not said that you're wrong for what you're saying to Samuel, and I'm not saying that I'm wrong for what I'm saying to you. Neither of you are wrong. You both just practice and learn in different ways. And when you come in this room, respect goes a long way, because I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and take problems in my room. I'm not a walkover. I'm just warning you. So, I 100% trust and believe in Samuel. And I believe that Samuel's got a long way to go to learn other things. Yes, just as we all have. But we've all learned in different ways, and nobody should be criticised or spoke down to because of that. It's just how it is.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you. Well, the one thing is that with plants and herbs, sometimes even a few stones and everything, if you can mix them into it, it works different ways for different people and works in different sorts of ways that you might not expect. And then there's times where it works perfectly. The advantage with, like I was saying, the advantage with plants and herbs or flowers or this or that, the advantage of it is that it's renewable. Like if you have a plant box right in front of your apartment and everything, and you're growing it, you're going to have, and you cultivate it and you harvest it, you can have it and come back maybe a few weeks later, and you can start over and over again, and to some extent I guess you could say stockpile it. So that's the advantage of plants and herbs and flowers in the way it's renewable. And so it makes it just, I love my stones. Don't get me wrong. I love my stones. They're wonderful. They're perfect offerings. But as opposed to anything else, their stones are not renewable. Once they're gone, they're gone. But with plants, like I said, they work and they work well. And it does the job as much as most people think.
But like I've always said, if we didn't have plants and we didn't have knowledge of the things that we know about plants and herbs and all sorts of things, like look back in the olden days, our ancestors and people like that, for instance, where do you think that medication for your medical issues and problems come from? It comes from people that had acknowledgement of the world and of the land and how different things work. And if it wasn't for those sort of people and people like me that carry it on today, there wouldn't be medication and there wouldn't be things to cure you and there wouldn't be things to go in food. There wouldn't be any of this because none of you would be aware of it or know about it. So, and like I said to you, when you pick up a herb and a plant and you use it in a spell or in magic, it's not for one specific thing. Okay, it can be for hundreds of different things. And every person that works with magic, every person that works with herbs, crystals, whatever it will be, work differently, get different outcomes. It's just how it is. Samuel could sit there and use pepper and get a really good outcome in an exorcism. I could use it and it don't work. It's what is beneficial and works for that person. Okay, not every herb that one person uses and somebody else uses is going to work for that other person. We've all got our own path, our own way that we work, and that what works best for us.
No,
And
definitely.
like in my opinion, there are so many categories to herbs and plants and how they're used that, in my opinion, this is just a minute bit of information on it. There is so
Well,
much out there.
Oh, definitely, Sherry. I mean,
There are
I did
forever new outcomes and new things being found, new studies, new experiments that are proving that these things are good for that. So,
def. Mhm. Well,
you know,
definitely, it's individual. It's definitely individual for what may work for one person may not work the next 16. With me, I have my list that I use on several different things, and it works for me. I've given a few potions out from Maryland over to Orlando and other places. And the thing is that I gave them potions and it works for them. And like I said, with certain people out there, whenever it comes to that sort of thing, whenever it comes to those compounds, whatever you want to call it, it's individual. But the thing is that if it works for the individual, then the individual should stick with it.
exactly. And you know, every individual is different. Nobody is the same. And Jacqueline, your thing, you say that you work in a retirement faculty, and that the nurses say that using oils work better than using medication. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that these things work better than medication? Let me go into a little bit of like when our ancestors brought all of these herbs and these plants and these things out for us to be able to use and to make into medication and cures and everything else, okay? Um, back in them days, the herbs, if you think about it, herbs, plants, and that, they are a natural plant. They are a natural thing. They are of the earth, okay? They've not been messed with. They've not had chemicals put into them. They have not had things put in them to make them work, okay? They are natural, which is why they work better, they're healthier, and they're safer. If you think about today's medication, yes, you've got the little traces of this plant or this herb that we've found, but they put other things in it that are not beneficial to our bodies, which is why you get a lot of people that become addicted to medication and become addicted to these sort of things because they're putting things in your medication that are not good for you. Okay. When you go to a natural thing and something that's not been messed with, something that's not been manipulated with, you are going to get a better outcome from it because it's natural and it's safe. It's not been messed with. It's not been contaminated, because that's what our medication is, contaminated, because they put things in there that we're not aware of, things that are not good for us, which is why we get these addictions, why we get this sort of stuff going on.
Well,
Okay. Where
definitely,
with natural plant and natural things like that, it's from the earth, it's from the universe. It was made in its natural form and it's used in its natural form, which is what I believe medication should be today. I don't believe that we should have a lot of this medication we've got on the shelf. We should be using old fashioned ways because, believe it or not, even though there was a lot of plagues and illness and stuff like that around, when it come to actual physical health and health of them themselves, they were a lot more healthier than what we are today. Even though they had all of that plague and everything else around, when it come to their lifestyle and their outcome, they were a lot healthier.
oh, definitely. I mean,
Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
And with that as well, at
mhm,
least when you're doing it naturally, you know what you're putting in your body.
mhm.
Like nobody is going to go and find a load of herbs and plants now and start using them. It is very important that when you do this sort of stuff that you do a lot of research and studying into the plants and the herbs that you want to use, because some of it can be very dangerous and can't be inhaled or anything in that, but can be used in another way. Then you've got sources that can be ate or took in, you know, but don't ever just go into doing your herbal work and start using this sort of stuff without any knowledge. You do need to do your studying. You do need to understand about different plants, what they're used for, what their benefits are, and what the non-benefits are. So the safe parts and the unsafe parts, all of that is very important when you come into this sort of work, because even though every herb and plant in this world is made to be beneficial to us, not all of it is safe to us as humans in other ways. So studying and research is always important when you're looking into natural ways of doing remedies and stuff like that.
Oh, definitely, sure. I mean, Cross contamination. You've got, so like if the medication has a certain temperature that's too high, it could destroy the compounds of that medication, or if
Hello,
the
Chastity. Yeah, and
or
that's
if
what I'm saying.
yeah,
And that's why we're doing these shows, so that we can learn you about herbs. We can learn you about different things, and you guys can take it from there. You don't have to be a full-blown expert on herbs and that to be able to use things to make things better in your life. It takes turning your computer on or looking at a book on herbs and plants and looking at, you know, the index on the things that they're good for, and you can find what these plants and these herbs are good for you in whatever categories you're needing. You don't have to be on top and be an expert. It's just about studying and learning and wanting to. Okay, it's not
yeah,
hard if you put your mind to it.
yeah, definitely.
And
But like I said,
a
mhm,
strong book with pictures and wording and, you know,
mhm.
guidance
Yeah,
is the
I mean,
best way to first start out. And going out
and
into nature and looking at different things, getting to know different things and different smells, and you know,
well, you were talking later on some of the ideas I was having, and I was thinking about it. And I think you were dead on the money, Sherry. I'm planning on going to a place called Hontoon Island. Hontoon Island, before European settlers came, it had a history of 16,000 years before European settlers came there. So what I was thinking about doing, promoting things and going over to the island and spending and doing some camping over there, and potentially bring a live stream and also pictures. Some of you that know things about me, I seem to have a way of capturing things that some people don't. And so I was going to go over there because, like I said, some of the pictures that I've shown, they're intriguing on Hontoon Island. And also going there, you're going to learn something, and it's
yeah,
invaluable what you can learn. And so what I was going to do is spend the night camping there, and take as much video and all that other stuff to show how it goes. And so, and there are a few other places I'm wanting to do that with. And so I'm going to clear it up with my superiors, of course. So, but and see how it goes from there. And like I said, stay the night,
yeah.
and
Well, I'm
see
looking
what
forward to
happens.
that. It should be fun when you do that. To the person that come in the room asking what's wrong with Nightbot, there's nothing wrong with Nightbot. The commands and stuff he puts in the room is to keep the room in control, and its warnings and stuff, because there's been a lot of problems here in the past. So that's why Nightbot puts the stuff that he puts in the room. Sam, I'm Nightbot. I will forget. Okay, Hatchie, thank you for coming in. Night, brother. Sam is under Samuel. If he writes in the room, you'll be able to get his YouTube channel. He doesn't have any content, I don't think, on his channel at the moment because he's just getting himself comfortable to do that sort of stuff. But he does have a channel, yeah. It's under his name, Samuel Helmick. So if you just add him that way. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Chris and Dakota. If you got me and Samuel onto one of your shows, that'd be really good. I think Samuel would probably enjoy that, having a little talk out and letting other people meet him. I think that Samuel is planning in the future to maybe be able to start putting things up on his channel and stuff like that. But at the minute, he's not. Yeah, it is amazing when you can give up things that become a habit. But as like I've said to you and people have said in the room as well, guys, you know, there are always some amazing things that you can look into. There's a lot of information and stuff out there that you can get into and learn to be who you are in a comfortable way. Okay. And you know, just never let people talk you down and make you feel that you're wrong in what you're doing, guys. Like, as long as you study and you research properly and you do it properly, there, you know, and you've got people to come to that can help. Strange lad. I don't know. Strange land. I don't know. There's 8 people in the room.
Well,
Just be
like I
you
was,
guys. Follow your
Mhm.
hearts.
Yeah,
Follow your heart
definitely.
and do your work properly, and study
Mhm.
properly. Anybody can be anything if they put their mind to it. That's all I'm saying. And through doing our shows on Fridays, you'll be able to learn a lot more of this stuff about
Mhm.
herbs and different ways and different beliefs and all sorts of things. So, tune into these shows, tune into our shows on Fridays. You will learn a lot of stuff. Yes, it does. The uses of natural things do help because they're natural to life, aren't they? They're different. They're not manipulated. As I said, they're all natural and good. They're the way that our medication should really be. A lot of people have gone a long way in life. They've found their own ways to find research and study, and they've decided to put their own bits in it. And not all of it's beneficial to us, as I've said.
Mhm.
So yes, I don't know. YouTube and that seem to be really mad at the minute. They go through stages where it seems like StreamYards is working, then it goes all quiet, and then it looks like there's nobody in the room. Then there's loads of you. Like YouTube's all over the place at the minute, and it's really good to see some new faces in here. Strange Land, and it's nice to see lovely Chad back. Oh, why aren't you blue, Chad? Let me make you blue. Anybody that doesn't have Chad Smith as well, please go check his channel out. He's absolutely awesome. And he done my interview a couple of weeks ago. He's really, really down to earth and really a really good guy. Him and his co-host. So that please go check them out as well, guys. They're awesome. And obviously, I want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of my angels in the room for coming and joining and making Samuel's first day back to the show really pleasant. And obviously, a massive big thank you to my A team up here, Samuel, for doing the show and bringing another interesting topic over to the channel. So thank you, Samuel. Is there anything you would like to say to the guys?
Well, I guess for the most part, I'm working on something on the issue of lycanthropy, or as people call it, werewolves and everything. Right now, I'm doing what I can to find history, the Hollywood image of it, history, how the idea of it has been perverted to some extreme, and in some ways it's been embraced. It's been embraced. So I'm looking at those factors, trying to get more information and everything. I've only got about 1,200 words written up, which isn't much, but trying to get that done and actually added on to it. I want to make, God, what was it? I'm trying to get more European, a lot more like Central European influence on the issue of werewolves and how things went on and everything. Like in the US, they had the Salem witch trials, which was horrible. In Central Europe, they had werewolves. And so I'm trying to dig up stuff on that. Like I said, I've only got about 1,200 words.
To be honest,
Page
the
back.
Salem, the witch trials went on all around the world, the same
Yes.
as the
Yeah.
werewolf stuff. And it'd be really good for you to do that, Sam, if you look into it from different areas and
Of
places and
course.
the different
Of
beliefs. And
course.
I think that's what these guys want to see. They want to see fact and information from different places and
Mhm.
like all of the facts about them, their selves, and what they
Of course.
do. And
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of different shows to do with this show where Samuel's going to be doing a lot of different topics. Obviously, we're going to be coming back with our shows where we'll be talking about certain topics. Samuel may hear a topic that he likes the sound of and wants to look more into it. So there's going to be a lot of really interesting stuff coming to the show, guys,
Mhm.
on this channel and through Bold and Bonkers and through, a lot of the work that we're going to be doing. So
Mhm.
just keep tuned, guys. We'll do what we can to keep you guys entertained, but just remember to just come in here with respect for our work because it takes a lot to do it. And we do work very hard to bring you the content we bring you.
Mhm.
Believe me.
Oh yeah, you definitely know, Sherry, on hard work and
Oh
dedication.
yes, oh yeah. You do. I know you work very hard, just as I do. Like
Yes, ma'am.
sometimes putting the shows together can be very time consuming and very hard, especially when you're having to do all the research and then you have to get everything and you know.
Yeah.
But we
Well,
will bring you the best.
yes, ma'am. And like I said, I mean, I'm working on that right now. I'm working on that right now, trying to get the majority of information that I can on it. Credit my sources, try and make sure that I have everything, all my ducks lined in a row, and present it for the
Oh,
viewing audience who deserve the best of what we can have and what we can have, what we can give them.
Hatchie is a nice guy, okay, but I think sometimes when Hatchie's on his own, he gets a little bit leery because he's doing things he shouldn't be doing, and he gets a bit opinionated because Hatchie is a very opinionated guy, and he's a very wise guy, and he does know a lot of stuff. Not denying that, you can see that a mile off, but there's a time and place for you to say things, and it's not in my room acting like that. I don't like being disrespected, especially when a lot of work is put into this channel. You know what I mean? To bring you guys what you want. Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community. We're trying to bring a community together. We're trying to make it so that people feel comfortable to be themselves and be who they want to be. The last thing we need is people coming in then and talking down to them and things like that. You know, it's not nice. For some people, it's very difficult to get on a camera and talk to an audience. Okay. It takes a lot of work. That's really good, Strangeland. So you're into the strange and the unknown as well. That's really good that you're in the right place. We're all into the strange and the unknown. We do crypto, UFO, and paranormal, and we do all witchy stuff and shaman stuff and alchemy stuff. And like this channel has got everything you can think of. Okay, so you've come to the right place. This community is amazing, and I'll have to check your channel out and look at some of your videos. And welcome to the chat. Yeah, and that's what I want you guys to feel. I want you guys to be able to feel comfortable and feel that you can be yourselves and be open. That is what this place is about. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play out the company intro and Samuel's intro and the 30-second countdown, and then I'm going to end this stream. So I just want to say a very big thank you to all of my angels in the room for coming and supporting Samuel and me on our company show today. Thank you for understanding and enjoying Samuel's work. Again, thank you to Samuel for coming up and presenting us with some amazing work for our first series 2. So, we're back now, guys. We're ready and kicking. And you will see Samuel again in a fortnight, but I'm sure he'll be up on other shows and stuff with me. So I'm sure you'll see him around. And obviously, we're going to be back this Friday with a show. And then I'm meant to have I'm not having any of the company shows starting until the end of January. So it's going to be paranormal stuff, UFO stuff, Samuel's show, which we've just had, and Drew's show and other things that I'm doing. So just keep us checking out and keep watching for us, guys. Stay safe, stay real, keep believing, and remember, be proud of who you are and be you. And we will see you real soon.
Thank you.
Right, what's this one? Right, no, we need to go to the next one. Sherry's talking to herself now, guys. I'm not going crazy. But thank you, my angels, for coming in. Love, light, and blessings. Blessed be. And a merry parting. And we will see you very, very soon. And stay spooky. Are we even up there? Big. Love and light, guys. Hello, and welcome to Paranormal World Investigators Research Division, shortened PWIRD. I'm a practicing white witch and shaman, and I have been investigating for over 20 years. This channel is made to talk about all things paranormal, supernatural, of the occult, demonic information, UFOs, and much more strange and the unknown. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and hit the bell to see more of this channel. And we will see you very soon. Thank you. Love and light, guys. See you very soon, and thank you for joining, and blessed be. And remember that when you go to sleep, those spirits creep, and they're always around you. And stay spooky, and see you very soon. And a merry parting to you all, and good night. God bless. May the Lord and divine be with you all.